I can't remember the last time I said this out loud on camera, but the A's just made a trade, and I don't think it's all that terrible. Now, I do have to warn you guys, I might sound biased in today's video because as you can see, I have a lot of cards of a prospect. So the Orioles actually traded for Cole Irvin, and the prospect that is going back to the A's, his name is Darell Hernaiz. In my opinion, he is the most slept on, underrated prospect in all of baseball. So if you're an A's fan, we'll talk about this kid later. Honestly, I like this trade, although you did have to give up Cole Irvin, so let's look at the trade in its entirety. Also, I don't know how I just forgot to mention this in today's video, but Scott Rowland was the only player inducted into the 2023 Baseball Hall of Fame class. I don't know how Todd Helton, Andrew Jones, Billy Wagner, even if you don't like Carlos Beltran because of what he did with the Astros, he still is deserving of the Hall of Fame. So as much as I love the fact that a guy who has over 2,000 base hits, almost 10 gold gloves, a 7-time All-Star, Scott Rowland 100% deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but Todd Helton, Andrew Jones, a couple other players that I would have voted for did not scratch the surface of making the Hall of Fame. So hopefully that changes in 2024, 2025. I mean, honestly, who really cares about the Hall of Fame anymore? Because the voting has gotten so out of whack and judgmental that it almost doesn't make sense anymore. And quite frankly, it's kind of embarrassing. My friend Jessica put out this post right here. She works for the A's, so I definitely trust her. The A's are giving away Cole Irvin and a guy named Kyle Virbitsky to the Orioles in exchange for Darell Hernaiz. We'll talk about Darell in just a second because I think that this kid, the sky is the limit. But first and foremost, the Orioles, they really needed a guy in the back of their rotation to be an innings eater. And in my opinion, Cole Irvin is going to be a perfect fit because while he wasn't the best pitcher in all of baseball last year, he still had a 3.98 ERA, 128 strikeouts, and 181 innings. So that calculates to a minuscule 6.4 strikeouts per nine. In 2021, he had a 6.3 strikeout per nine. So what makes Cole Irvin decent at the game of baseball is the fact that he is able to get hitters to put the ball in play. I will say, if we look at Cole Irvin's baseball savant, anytime a hitter is putting the ball in play, it's getting hit pretty hard. So when these blue circles are there, that means that you're giving up a lot of hard contact. And what is he really good at? He is top 11% at not allowing walks. So Cole Irvin, I don't mean to sound disrespectful when I say this, he is kind of the human equivalent of batting practice. He wants hitters to put the ball in play. He is not trying to strike you out with insane fastball spin or curveball spin. We can see that he's bottom 4% in fastball spin, bottom 6% in curve spin. I'm not the biggest Cole Irvin fan, but I do like the fact that he can throw a lot of innings. In back-to-back years, he had 178 innings in 2021 and 181 innings in 2022. That's exactly what the Orioles are looking for while they're trying to get John Means healthy. I want to take a look at the Orioles as a roster right now because honestly, I'm not too sure where they're at. But right now, it seems like Cole Irvin is slated to be a 2 or 3 starter in the same rotation as Kyle Gibson. I forgot that Kyle Gibson was even on the team. They have Kyle Bradish. I thought that he was pretty solid. He almost looks like a Shane Bieber-esque type of player, just if Shane Bieber threw 96 to 97. I like Dean Kremer, and Tyler Wells is decent as well. John Means, I hope that he comes back later on in the year. We all know that the Orioles bullpen is going to be devastating. I think that Cionel Perez, one of the most underrated pitchers in baseball. They have the Mountain, Felix Bautista, Dylan Tate is really good. I like Michael Gibbons. He has some skills at least, but for me, the Orioles, they can move on from a guy like Darell Hernaiz, one of their better prospects, because we know that he's only their 16th ranked prospect because the Orioles are so loaded. So the A's, they're tanking. The Orioles, they don't have room at the end for Darell Hernaiz, so this trade makes sense, but we'll talk about Darell in just a second. The other piece of the puzzle, Kyle Virbitsky, he is going to the Orioles as well. He is someone that actually has pretty nasty stuff. If you're asking me, he's a right-handed pitcher. If he can be a back end of the rotation guy or a long reliever, that could work out for this dude as well. So Kyle Virbitsky as well as Cole Irvin, they are going to the Baltimore Orioles in exchange for my favorite, or at least my most underrated prospect in baseball, Darell Hernaiz. The reason why I like this kid is because he absolutely flies on the bases. He is 59 of 69 in terms of stolen base attempts, so he is efficient and he's fast. And another thing that I love about Darell Hernaiz, shout out to my boy Cardinals Reek for making this. If we take a look at his max exit velocity, he once hit a baseball nearly 116 miles an hour. If we take a look at his average exit velocity, he's 85 35.2, which is really good. Hard hit percentage is 32.2. Now, those aren't super elite numbers, but he doesn't chase either. So you're talking about a guy that can steal 59 of 69 bags. He has a pretty decent glove and arm as well. Yes, I know that he is prone to whiffing at the off-speed stuff or kind of rolling over, but to me, I feel like Darell Hernaiz is better right now than Nick Allen. I know that Nick Allen is a top prospect for the A's, or at least he once was, but I don't see a lot of ceiling with him. So for me, Darell Hernaiz, he's got the pop. He likes to drive it to the gaps as well. He's never going to be a 35, 40 home run guy, but in my opinion, he could be a 15 home run, 30 stolen base with pretty good defense, and I just think that he was very underrated because the Orioles farm system is so absolutely loaded. I mean, if we go back to the Orioles farm system, Gunnar Henderson, Grayson Rodriguez, Jackson Holliday, Colton Cowser, they are absolutely locked and loaded. Heston Kjerstad is one of the more underrated players, or prospects I should say, in baseball as well, because he had myocarditis, so he was out for a long time, and then he was an on-base god. So for me, I actually don't mind this trade. I think it's a win-win because the Orioles, they need starting rotation depth. They're getting that with Cole Irvin. He's not going to wow you with his strikeout stuff. They're also getting another guy. Maybe he's a back end of the rotation guy or a bullpen guy later on. He's 6'7", 240 pounds, and I just really like the fact that Darell Hernaiz is going to be playing down the street from me, because if he gets called up, the A's, their AAA team is in Vegas, so I can go see this kid and see if he's the actual real deal, which I think he is. So for me, not a bad trade by the A's. If you're an A's fan, let me know in the comments, what do you make of losing out on Cole Irvin? He was one of the better clubhouse guys, a fan favorite, so he goes to the Orioles with his buddy Kyle Virbitsky, and then in exchange, the A's are receiving Darell Hernaiz, who again, let me go full screen so I can show you guys. I have an almost rainbow of Darell Hernaiz. I really feel like this kid has a high ceiling. So that does it for today's video. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. I tried to be a little bit more professional today because I owe that to Darell Hernaiz. I want to make sure that I got this right. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff, and stay safe.